Sidhu Moosewala is no more with us physically, but his new songs will keep pouring.
Haryana के अंदर हमारी सरकार आ रही है.
And the first new song since his murder on May 29th is already out. This is not just another song, this is a challenge. A challenge not only to the Indian government's political narrative on Punjab's water crisis, but also to the assertion of the idea of Indian nationalism. We will talk about his new song, but first, look at this data. As per the Punjab state government's report, about 79 of the groundwater resources of the Punjab state are already overexploited. Out of 138 groundwater blocks, 109 are overexploited. 2 are critical, 5 are semi-critical. As much as 73% of Punjab's agriculture land is irrigated by tube wells that pump out underground water. Rivers irrigate the rest 27%. According to the Punjab government, water in Punjab rivers has reduced from 17 M.A.F to 13 M.A.F due to global warming. Even the Central Groundwater Department's report says several Punjab areas could go dry by 2029. Punjab is facing this water crisis as a reward for ending the hunger problem of India and making it a nation with surplus grains in stock. I'm telling you this because it is deeply related to Sidhu Moosewala's new song.
Sidhu Moosewala, baby. Yeah.
Sidhu Moosewala was planning to shoot a video of this song, and Punjabi video director Stalin Veer was assigned the job. The song was supposed to release on June 6th, which is observed as a Kalukara Dehada, 6th genocide anniversary. Indian media calls it Operation Blue Star anniversary, but he was murdered on May 29th. There was a reason that Moosewala wanted to release this song on June 6th. On this day in 1984, the Indian Army had attacked Harmandir Sahib, a central place for Sikhs, and had demolished Akal Takht Sahib, the throne of Almighty, in the name of fighting with the Sikh fighters led by Sant Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale. Moosewala had a tattoo of Sant Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale on his body and a poster of Sant Ji on his favorite tractor. It is pervasive in India for police to book Sikh youth for wearing t-shirts with pictures of Sant Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale. Still, it is prevalent among Sikh youth to celebrate Sant Ji, and Moosewala, born into a Sikh family, was no different. Coming back to his new song, and Sikh fighter Balwinder Singh Jattana is mentioned in the song. Balwinder Singh Jattana had killed an engineer with a security cover who was in charge of SYL, Satluj Yamuna link canal. The murder resulted from politics, which created not only the water crisis in Punjab, but also an existential crisis for the Sikhs, a micro-minority in India. The idea of the Satluj-Yamuna link canal is the idea of Indian nationalism. Recently, the leader of the biggest opposition party, the Indian National Congress in India, Rahul Gandhi, had said, "The word nation is a Western concept. India is a union of states, like Europe." What Rahul Gandhi said is not practiced in India, not even by his party. India has emerged as a nation where different identities are supposed to dilute into a standard civil code in the name of nationalism. Not only identities, but also the natural resources are supposed to be centralized and controlled by the union government. India has a federal structure, but only on papers. States depends entirely on the union government for finance, security, transportation, communication, education, health and anything you name. Punjab, the state from where Sidhu Moosewala belonged, was known for its rich water resources before the independence of India from the British in 1947. But now, it is a state known for its water crisis. The state is a flood area of 5 rivers, originates from the Himalayas, and international riparian laws make Punjab the natural owner of the waters of rivers flowing through it. Punjab and its rivers were divided in 1947 between India and Pakistan. Eastern Punjab was left with only 2.5 rivers. India was a country fighting hunger, and Punjab was a state with hard-working Sikh farmers and fertile land made of flood water and natural water resources. In the 1950s, 60s and 70s, Indian government made Punjab use its fertile land and water resources to fight the hunger problem. Soon Punjab became the food bowl of India. Indian Union forced Punjab to sow the rice, which required a massive amount of water. According to the studies done by Punjab Agriculture University Ludhiana, around 3600 liters to 4125 liters of water is required to grow 1 kilogram of rice depending upon the paddy variety. Rice is not a popular food in Punjab, but it was the main food of eastern states of India. Sikh farmers were encouraged by the Indian government to use groundwater to sow the rice to combat the hunger problem in India. However, the Indian Union had no sympathetic approach towards Punjab for its colossal contribution to fighting the hunger problem. Instead of rewarding the state, the Union governor allocated a considerable share of Punjab's river water to non-riparian states like Rajasthan, Haryana and Delhi in the name of nationalism. Meanwhile, minority Sikh farmers continued to exploit the groundwater to fill majoritarian India's belly. Punjab was always opposed to sharing the waters of its rivers with Haryana, citing riparian principles, but Punjab had no power to stop this unjustified allocation of its river water. At the same time, Union government also attempted to impose the artificial language Hindi over the centuries-old Punjabi in Punjab, and it resulted in the further dividing Punjab into 3 states in 1966. This divide further weakens the political power of Punjab in the Indian Union. Punjab's electoral value decreased in Indian politics, and the Union government decided to exploit the water resources of Punjab further. Hell broke out in Punjab when the centre decided to carve out one or more canal to give water to Haryana state from Punjab's share. On April 8, 1982, the Prime Minister Indira Gandhi launched the construction of the SYL canal with a groundbreaking ceremony in Kapuri village in Patiala district of Punjab. A stretch of 214 km was to be constructed, out of which 122 km was to cross Punjab and 92 km in Haryana. But Shiromani Akali Dal, a political party of minority Sikhs, launched an agitation in the form of Kapuri Morcha against the canal construction. These events led to the Indian Army's attack on Harmandir Sahib in June 1984. But Indian government was hell-bent on constructing SYL, and its construction was resumed. Then in July 1985, Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi and then Shiromani Akali Dal chief Sant Harchand Singh Longowal signed an accord agreeing for a new tribunal to resume the construction of SYL. On August 20, 1985, Longowal was killed by Sikh fighters, more diminutive than a month after signing the accord. But Union government was in no mood to step behind in the construction of SYL. On the July 23, 1990, a chief engineer of SYL, M.L. Sekhdi, and a superintendent engineer, Avtar Singh Olak, was killed by Sikh fighters. Here comes a Balwinder Singh Jattana in a scene. He was a Sikh fighter who, along with Jagtar Singh Panjola, Balbir Singh Fauji, and Harmeet Singh Pauwal, killed the chief engineer and stopped the project. The jungle has come up at the site of the SYL canal over the last 32 years, and Moosewala has mentioned this jungle in the song. Balwinder Singh Jattana was killed in the fake encounter by Indian police. His family members were also killed as part of extrajudicial killings. Moosewala's song is also vital because it not only highlights the history of Punjab but also brings focus to the water crisis that the state faces today. This water crisis is existential for Punjab and its people. The exploitation of water for sowing rice has not stopped, and it will be the most extensive homage to Sidhu Moosewala from his fans if they can contribute to Punjab's fight to save its water and water resources from the Indian nationalism. What is in the song? The song starts with the recent statement of Aam Aadmi Party's Rajya Sabha member Sushil Gupta. Soon after the AAP formed the government in Punjab, Gupta said, "Now we have a government in Punjab. In 2024, AAP will form the government in Haryana too. In 2025, water will reach every farm in Haryana. This is not our promise, but our guarantee." As Gupta's statement ends, Moosewala's lyrics begin. "Sanu sada ਪਿਛੋਕੜ ਤੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਲਾਣਾ ਦੇ ਦਿਓ, ਚੰਡੀਗੜ੍ਹ ਹਿਮਾਚਲ ਤੇ ਹਰਿਆਣਾ ਦੇ ਦਿਓ। ਜਿੰਨਾ ਚਿਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸੋਵਰਨਟੀ ਦਾ ਰਾਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੰਦੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਚਿਰ ਪਾਣੀ ਛੱਡੋ ਤੁਪਕਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੰਦੇ।
ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਡਾ ਪਿਛੋਕੜ ਤੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਲਾਣਾ ਦੇ ਦਿਓ, ਚੰਡੀਗੜ੍ਹ ਹਿਮਾਚਲ ਤੇ ਹਰਿਆਣਾ ਦੇ ਦਿਓ।
Give us back our past and tribe. Give us Chandigarh, Haryana and Himachal. Forget about the water. We won't even give a drop until you give us sovereignty. On the water, it says, ਪਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਹੈ, ਪਾਣੀ ਤਾਂ ਪੁਲਾਂ ਥੱਲੋਂ ਵਗਣਾ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਨਾਲ ਰਲਾ ਲਓ ਲੱਖ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਥੱਲੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਣਾ, ਦਬਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੰਗਦੇ ਹੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੰਦੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਚਿਰ ਪਾਣੀ ਛੱਡੋ ਤੁਪਕਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੰਦੇ। Water will keep flowing under the bridges. You can win us with the love, but we will not bow to you. We won't give you water because you are offensive in asking.
ਦਬਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੰਗਦੇ ਹੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੰਦੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਚਿਰ ਪਾਣੀ ਛੱਡੋ ਪੱਕਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੰਦੇ।
The song goes on to add, ਕਲਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਰੁਕਣੀ ਨਿਤ ਨਵਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਗਾਣਾ ਆਊ, ਜੇ ਨਾ ਟਲੇ ਤਾਂ ਮੁੜ ਬਲਵਿੰਦਰ ਜਟਾਣਾ ਆਊ, ਫਿਰ ਪੁੱਤ ਬਗਾਨੇ ਨਹਿਰਾਂ 'ਚ ਡੇਕਾਂ ਲਾ ਹੀ ਦਿੰਦੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਚਿਰ ਪਾਣੀ ਛੱਡੋ ਤੁਪਕਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੰਦੇ। My pen won't stop and a new song will be written every day. If you don't step back, then someone like Balwinder Jatana will return. The daring sons turn canals into vegetation. The song also demands the release of Sikh prisoners, the issue on which Shromani Akali Dal Badal and Shromani Akali Dal Amritsar have been contesting the Sangrur by-election. It refers to Topiwala as one with the narrow thinking. The Topiwala is a term used by Shromani Akali Dal factions for the AAP. There is a statement of Punjabi actor and activist Deep Sidhu, who had died in a car accident in February 2022. The song ends with the controversial statement of Governor Satyapal Malik, while hinting at the possibility of drastic consequences for not revoking farm laws. Malik had said, Indira Gandhi knew that she would be killed, and she was killed. They killed General A.S. Vaidya in Pune and General Dyer in London. I have even said that don't test the patience of the Sikh community. This statement was made before the farm laws were taken back by the Union government. There are visuals of Sant Jarnail Singh Pindranwale, Balwant Singh Rajwana and Jagtar Singh Hawara, apart from Balwinder Singh Jattana. Pictures of Sikh militants Devinderpal Singh Pullar, Gurdeep Singh Khera, Lakhvinder Singh, Jagtar Singh Tara and many other Sikh militants are used. The video also mentions the study done by NASA about the water crisis in North India, that groundwater was depleting dangerously. It appeals to the viewers, each of you is the last hope for protecting the Punjab river water to prevent the desertification of Punjab. The video ends with the hashtags Save Punjab Waters and Release Sikh Prisoners.